those who've been to one of my seminars before would know it wouldn't be complete if I didn't have this. In all honesty, I could stop right here. Daft as it sounds, if you just get to grips with this, you will outmarket most of your competition in no time. Simply because very few, and I'm talking less than 1 in 10 small businesses, do marketing every day. Now that does not just include chucking stuff out onto social media, because that's, quite frankly, fairly easy, takes no time at all. Often takes no thought if you watch a lot of it. But when I got to grips with this in my last business, we doubled our sales in just under 9 months. Our monthly turnover had doubled in just under 9 months, just by getting to grips with organized marketing every day. Just take a bit of thought, but that, in my view, is the best marketing advice I could give ever. So here we are. Number 1. First thing your 2022 marketing plan needs to have is more humans. Now, this may sound a bit silly, but I've noticed, and many marketeers have noticed over the last few years, that there has been a bit of a backlash to the distant, transactional, inhuman online way of doing business. And you must remember that if you're in any kind of networking group and you run a small business that sells to other small businesses, you will know that people buy from people. And I think that this is, in fact, I'd be very surprised if this ever changes. But there has been a move back towards this in recent years. So I would say, be more human. People like to buy from people. Put more of you in your marketing. Put more pictures of you. Put more action shots. Put more of you in your social media. Just be humans, and at least make the effort to smile. I look at some people's websites, and there's the team photos, and they all look like they've just come back from a funeral. Who's going to buy from people like that? Now, be smile. We all have a personality. We all have great things we can share with people. Let's share some enthusiasm. Let's share some happiness. Let's spread some joy. And ultimately, let's spread a bit of love. That would be great too. But remember, even in today's business world, even today's online world, people still buy from people. And the more people and humanity you can put into your marketing, the more it's going to have an impact and the more people will respond. Number 2, more video. Now, those who've been around me for a while will know that I do a video every week, pretty much. And it's almost always me standing in front of a camera going on about some aspect of building your business. You don't necessarily have to do that. There's software with, like Doodly, for example, where you can create scribble videos that are scripted where nobody has to stand in front of a camera. Now, the good thing about talking heads in front of a camera is that people can see who you are. Now, I speak with people quite often about what I do, because oftentimes they've seen one of my videos. They know who I am. They know a little bit about me. They know, at least feel that they've got some kind of relationship with me. And in my last business, we had videos everywhere. But there's a whole heap of reasons why video is great. Now, I'm talking about YouTube specifically, and here's the business reasons. Second biggest search engine in the world behind Google. The second most visited website on the planet, much to Facebook's disgust. YouTube is more popular than Facebook. There are more hours spent on YouTube than on Facebook. It's used by less than 5% of small businesses. That's fewer than 1 in 20 small businesses even have a presence on YouTube. Bearing in mind, if you ever wanted your website to do well in the search engines, YouTube is immense. Embedded YouTube videos in your website will almost instantly improve your SEO picture. In other words, how well your website performs in the search engines. And I could go on. There's loads and loads of reasons to do this. You don't need any expensive kit. You can just get yourself a tripod with a little thing on top. Your phone has an HD camera on it, and you can just do stuff with that. You can get free video editing software. If you've got a Mac, you can use iMovie. If you've got a PC, you can use something like Shotcut, which is free. So you don't really need to spend any money on this stuff, or at least certainly not a lot of money. But I would say do more video. The cool thing about video is if you are talking to camera, it becomes person to person. You are, as I said in the first one, being that little bit more human. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't need Peter Jackson on your side to make sure it looks great. Just do it. Just talk. Just be human. But YouTube, outside of that, is immense for small businesses and grossly underused by nearly all small businesses. So if you want to outmarket your competition, this is a good place to be. Number 3, talk to your customers more. Now, I'm a big fan of this because I know from experience, having been there and done it, and then worked with customers who didn't get to grips with it, that most small businesses, 80% plus of small businesses talk to their customers enough. Do you talk to your customers? Do you email your customers? Do you tag your customers in your social media? Do you every now and then, if you are a B2B and you don't have a massive customer base, just phone them up, ask them how they're doing. Do you have that discussion on a regular basis? Now, I'd like to tell you a bit of a story about a company that I went to see. They manufactured and also retailed adhesives and lubricants. Now, they've been in business for a long, long time. The guy who owned it at the time, which was, 12, 13 years ago now, he was well into his 50s. He'd started the business with his brother. They were both in their 20s. So it'd been going for a while. They had a website which was doing okay, but their business was shrinking. And I said, well, what kind of marketing are you doing? And I said, well, we've got the website. I said, right. How often do you email your customers? Oh, we don't do that. We don't want to pester them. And therein lies the problem. The success of any business depends on the customer database. The value of any business that's sold depends on the customer database. And if your customer database has been neglected for quite some time, I can promise you it's not going to be any good for your business, not in terms of how well it grows or how well your turnover keeps ticking over, or even the sale value should you come to bail out. So keep in touch with your customers. I promise you, even if you just drop them a line once a month or so, you'll be doing more than most businesses, because most businesses just don't do it. It doesn't even come onto their radar to talk to their customers. But here's the cool thing. It's way, way easier to sell to an existing customer than it is to go out and find and convert a new one. So never, ever neglect your existing customers. And finally, I'm going to give you a bonus. Remarketing/retargeting. Now, remarketing is brilliant. Now, I don't know whether you've ever gone onto a website and the next time you go onto Facebook, you see an ad for that particular company or that particular product on Facebook. Now, it's no coincidence. They're actually doing what's known as remarketing. So they put a cookie on your website when you visit their website, and they can tell that you visited the website, and they will show you ads. But you can also do this with email. And I'm working with a client to work this out, whereby when we email certain sectors of the database, if they click on a link to take a look at an article, for example, we're going to put them into an automation which follows that up. In other words, if they've taken a look at this particular type of product or service, then we can then give them another nudge to prompt them saying, is this something you're interested in? Maybe we should talk. But we're also looking at doing Facebook ads as well, whereby the next time they go to Facebook, they'll see an ad relating to that topic. And we're also trying to take advantage of an offer from Google to be able to do that as well. Now, the cool thing is that this stuff is really cheap, because in both Facebook and Google's case, you're not having to compete with other people. There's no competition. It's not an auction. You're just putting the ads in front of people. And another reason why it's cheap is that you're not advertising to just everybody and anybody. You're only advertising to that tiny little bit group of people who've expressed an interest in whatever it is you have to offer. So it's not a competition. It's not an auction. You're just putting ads in front of people. And it becomes incredibly targeted. And if done well, can be incredibly profitable. A very, very successful method of having that extra bite at the cherry. I'm in discussion with an IT company at the minute. They get reasonable traffic to their website, but they get very few leads. So we're going to look to use Facebook to, depending on the service. So if it's IT security, for example, we're going to put IT security ads in front of them on Facebook, just to give them another nudge to come and take another look or open up a discussion in the Facebook Messenger. Now, like I said, the cool thing is it's really, really cheap. It's incredibly targeted. You're only talking to people who've expressed some kind of interest. And usually there is a company called Bain & Co. They do a lot of statistical reporting on business. And they reckon something like between 70 and 80% of people who inquire about a product or service will eventually go on to buy it. Sadly, most small businesses don't follow up nearly enough to make that sale theirs. And retargeting or remarketing is a great way of automating a nudge, a follow-up. In other words, you can set it and pretty much forget it, or tweak it after. Obviously, you need to tweak it if it doesn't seem to be working. But the cool thing is, once it's set up, it's just a case then of refining it to make it work for you. It's incredibly effective when you get to grips with it and when it's done well. So that is your 3+ bonus key things that you must include in your 2022 marketing plan if you want to get the best results. And remember, as I said very early on, make sure you get something out there every single day. It doesn't have to be social media every day, but are you emailing your customers on a regular basis? Are you, using your database? Are you making offers? Are you analyzing data? Are you looking at all of this stuff? Are you looking at your analytics to work out which pages people are looking at, etc., so you can strengthen a call to action? Do something in your marketing every day. It doesn't have to be something that reaches your customer list or your target customer list every single day, but do something every day in your marketing that's going to help you to build your business. Consistent is the key. Being consistent. Most people do poke it with a stick marketing and they get poke it with a stick results. That's not how business should be done. And if you want 2022 to do well, this is where it needs to be. And finally, from Jim Rohn, for things to change, you have to change. For things to get better, you have to get better. For your business to improve, you have to improve it.